Hello guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about the Dark Souls 2 release announcement trailer. Now it's been a couple of weeks since Namco Bandai released their trailer for their brand new game, Dark Souls 2, and everybody got quite excited about it, although it doesn't really show too much. What most people have got excited about is actually not the video of the trailer itself, because as I've already said, it doesn't show all too much, and it's basically CGI trailer, so it's not even gameplay footage. The comments of ex-directors and current directors that are getting everybody all up in a hoo-ha. One of the main things about Dark Souls 2 is that it actually has two new game directors instead of the old director that took charge of the Demon Souls and Dark Souls games. Them two directors are Tomohiro Shibuya and Yu Tanimura, who are taking over from Hidetaka Miyazaki. Now actually on the same day that the trailer came out, one of the new directors, Tomohiro Shibuya, said a few things that got people in a bit of a tiz. He said, and I quote, "I personally am the sort of person who likes to be more direct than subtle. Dark Souls 2 will be more straightforward and understandable." Which got everybody very, very upset. And basically, it got people to think that perhaps they're going to be, should I even say it, dumbing down Dark Souls. Oh dear. Because one of the major things, as anybody who knows about Dark Souls will know, is that the game itself is all about being hard, all about being tough, all about being merciless, and about making you work at the game. However, on the 19th, which was a couple of days ago now, the old director, Mr. Miyazaki, actually had an interview with the Japanese magazine Famitsu, where he discussed a few things that I think should actually calm people down a little bit as to what direction Dark Souls 2 will be going in. One of the more interesting quotes that he gave actually was in response to the panic some people were having with regards to what was happening with the Dark Souls series. He said, and I quote, "If we're going to announce this as a sequel to Dark Souls, then I think there's certainly a core that we need to protect. I'm talking about how we think about the difficulty level and how you achieve things in-game. About the concepts behind the mechanics and the level design. Outside of that core, though, I think it's better to leave things to the discretion of the director. There's a lot around that core that we need to fix or adjust. Besides, and individual touches always tend to come out in the world setting and artwork, so I'm not meddling in that very much." Which basically, I think, is Mr. Miyazaki saying, don't worry guys, we are not going to dumb down or make this game easier, however we are going to do some things different that we could improve upon. What that is, I don't know. However, the first sentence of his quote is rather interesting to me, particularly where he says that if we're going to announce this game as a sequel to Dark Souls, then I think that there's certainly a core that needs to be protected. Basically saying that if we're going to have a game that's worthy of its predecessors, we need to keep certain things in place and not to mess with them, which is actually, I think, something that's good to hear. And also, I should actually highlight that Miyazaki is not actually out of the picture. He has a more of a supervising role, so he does actually have sway and influence over the way that the game works, just less of a hands-on position. However, there are some other things that in the interview that I found interesting actually, which lends more towards the game itself and rather than the meta detail of what's going on with the difficulty level and other things that people might have an issue with being changed. It actually be set on the same planet as the last game, which I think everybody just pretty much assumed. However, it says that it will be in a completely different place and the storylines will not be connected in any way. Further, in the article, it was announced that Dark Souls 2 would actually have dedicated multiplayer servers. In fact, Mr. Miyazaki stated, "I think having dedicated game servers will be a source of a lot of new potential in Dark Souls 2. There's a lot with the original Dark Souls I wish I could have done if we had the ability to have those servers. So in that way, I'm pretty jealous of the new director here." Admitting that the multiplayer experience behind Demon Souls and Dark Souls was not as good as it could have been, Mr. Miyazaki states, "The concept behind the online play in Demon Souls and Dark Souls was pretty plain to gamers, so I'm hoping we can evolve that concept here without removing ourselves too far from it." And then the article nicely rounds off by quoting Mr. Shibuya and emphasizing that they really want to get across that although they did say that they wanted to make the game accessible, or more accessible and understandable, that they really do not want to lose what it was that Dark Souls had when they make the sequel. not just me, but I think everyone on the team sees the previous Dark Souls as our biggest rival. It is an enormously huge presence in our minds, and we feel a lot of pressure, but we're going to give all our full effort to surpass what we've already accomplished. So there we go, that's all I've got for you at the moment. When we come back though, I think particularly on the subject of Dark Souls, we do have a little bit of other information I'll put into another video, and that is with regards to the new concept art images that have been released or leaked. I'm not certain if they've been leaked or if they've been legitimately released. I'm a bit hesitant to cover anything that's been leaked because legal teams do not take kindly to that, as my experience will testify to. So we'll have to find out whether or not the source is legit, and if it is, then I'll share it with you. If not, I'll put a link in the description bar and you can have a little look for yourselves, or just Google it, it's everywhere. But that'll be for then. So until then guys, stay safe, take care of yourself, goodbye.